The movie begins with a couple. The man's name is Hanif. He's traveling somewhere with his wife and 3 kids. In fact, Hanif was an orphan who was later adopted. However, the owner of the orphanage where Hanif spent his entire childhood is now seriously ill, and that's why they're heading toward the orphanage to check on him. Suddenly, while driving, they feel like something has hit their car. When they get out to check, they see a dead deer lying on the side of the road. They feel very sad, but they leave the place anyway. After they leave, we're shown that there's a little girl lying on the other side of the road. She's bleeding, and it's unclear whether she's alive or dead. Shortly after they arrive at the orphanage, when Hanif gets there, he sees many of his childhood friends who also grew up in the same orphanage and have come to check on the owner. Everyone is happy to see each other. Hanife then learns that only 2 children were never adopted. They grew up in this orphanage and still live there. All of Hanife's childhood friends are now grown up. Among the remaining children, there's a girl named Rani, along with another girl. She gives Hanife and the others a tour of the orphanage. Rani shares that she came to the orphanage when she was 10 years old, but she believes that one day her mother will come back to take her. She then shows everyone their rooms. Meanwhile, one of Han's sons named Haki starts walking toward a particular room. Rani notices this and begins explaining the history of that room. Many years ago, a caretaker at the orphanage used to live there. He believed that a young girl was possessed by an evil spirit. He would constantly scream at her, and soon after the girl mysteriously disappeared. No one ever found out what happened to her. The caretaker slowly went insane and became uncontrollable, so the orphanage staff locked him inside that same room. He kept screaming to be let out and started banging his head against the door. Before the door could be opened, he died. Since then, the door has remained locked. Haki gets extremely scared and immediately runs to his father. Hanife also shows him a picture of the caretaker, explaining that he had gone mad. Later, everyone sits down for dinner. After dinner, Hanife panics when he notices blood, a piece of cloth, and some hair stuck on the hood of his car. This makes him suspicious. Did he really hit a deer, or did he hit someone else? He takes one of his friends with him and goes back to the exact spot where the accident happened. The deer was still lying there, but his friend notices that on the other side of the road, the little girl was also still lying there, and she was dead. At the same time, they see a bus parked nearby that belonged to the orphanage. When they go inside the bus, they see that all the children are injured, and it's clear this wasn't an accident. These children were deliberately attacked. Seeing all this, they are completely shocked and try to call the police, but there's no network signal. Since the police station is very far from there, they decide to take the little girl with them back to the orphanage. After reaching the orphanage, one of their friends asks them where they're coming from at this hour. Hanife then explains the entire incident. The man tells Hanife and his companion that he will go to the spot himself to see what really happened. He heads there alone. When he reaches the bus and goes inside, he sees that the children weren't dead. Instead, they were standing facing the opposite direction. This terrifies him, and he tries to get off the bus, but before he can, the bus door suddenly closes. Then he feels as if someone outside the bus is wearing a black costume. Suddenly, the children inside the bus begin to move, and an enormous number of insects start coming out of something inside the bus. These insects begin entering the man's body, and because of them, he dies. Meanwhile, back at the orphanage, we see a girl holding a knife and an apple, staring at herself in the mirror. In the mirror, she feels she looks very fat, so she starts cutting her own body. It seems like she's possessed, because no normal person could harm themselves like that. On the other side, we see another girl sleeping on her bed when some worms fall onto her. Within moments, they crawl inside her body, causing her intense pain. The husband of the girl who was cutting herself comes in and is horrified by what he sees. When the girl regains consciousness and sees her condition, she becomes terrified and faints again. Seeing his wife in this state, he quickly calls Hanife and his wife. Just then, the girl whose body was invaded by worms also arrives there. She starts vomiting blood, and a huge number of worms come out with it. But some worms are still inside her body, crawling around under her skin. She begins peeling off her own skin, trying to get the worms out of her body. Instead, her condition keeps getting worse. Now Hanife's wife starts driving the car to take them to the hospital, but something very strange starts happening to them. They keep turning around and end up back at the orphanage again and again. Their road is turned into a loop, and seeing this makes them extremely worried. At this point, Hanife reveals something. He says that the caretaker of the orphanage was a very evil woman. This happened about 25 years ago. She used to brutally torture the children because she practiced black magic. She had even sacrificed 3 little girls. Hanife and his 2 friends had actually witnessed this. But before they could catch her, Hanife and his friends ran away. While the 3 of them were running, they somehow ended up back at the orphanage again. Back then too, the road had turned into a loop. The owner of the orphanage also found out about this, and they told the kids, "We will lock that caretaker inside her room." Hanife and his friends never told anyone about this before. But today, they finally revealed the truth, that after the caretaker died, they buried her under the floor of that very room. Those friends were still together, except for the poor guy who had died on the bus. So it's possible that the caretaker's spirit is now haunting these 2. Meanwhile, back at the orphanage, we see Hasby, who lives there. He is stitching his own lips shut with a stapler. A little later, we also see Hoke, who is playing a video on a video player, but above it, he sees someone's face, something absolutely terrifying. He runs to Hasby, but Hasby is completely out of control. So Hoke shoots him with a gun. However, it doesn't do much damage because the gun shoots rubber bullets. A short while later, Hanife and his wife arrive there as well. They start planning to leave this place as soon as possible with their children, but they are unable to find Hoke. Then, Hanife's wife goes into the owner's room. She looks under his bed and finds a box filled with photographs, pictures of young girls. From what she sees, it becomes clear that this sick owner lying there was not a good man at all. He used to kill and abuse those little girls. The caretaker, whom we had been thinking was evil all this time, was actually a very good woman. She wanted to save those little girls from the owner, but the owner didn't want his secret to come out. So he teamed up with the children and made up a story that the caretaker was evil and possessed. He locked her up so she would die, and she was buried there. Now everyone starts wondering, if the owner was such a bad man, then who is causing all these incidents? Because the owner is sick and bedridden. A little while later, the little girl whom they thought was dead steps out of a car. She tells them what really happened. The children were going on a picnic from the orphanage when a woman dressed in black boarded their bus. As soon as she came in, all the children became possessed. They completely lost control of themselves. She was chanting some kind of magical spell, but the girl says she didn't get possessed because she was wearing headphones and didn't hear the spell. When she saw all the other children, she ran away, and that's when a car hit her. Hanife feels deeply sad when he realizes that the caretaker was not an evil woman at all. He regrets believing the owner and killing her. In anger, he goes and starts strangling the owner, but his wife stops him. There, Hanife finds a photograph with the missing girl's name written on the back. That's when he begins to understand that maybe this girl is behind everything. They are about to leave when Hanife's 2 injured sons arrive. As they step outside, the woman dressed in black appears in front of them. It's her, the same little girl who went missing years ago. Now the woman starts using black magic to strangle Hanof. She also possesses Nadia and is about to kill. But just then, Ronnie comes from behind and hits her, stopping her. Ronnie was actually the daughter of the woman dressed in black. That's when she starts using her magic to hurt everyone. Some people begin feeling severe body pain, while others' fingers start breaking. Then she enters the room where that woman had been buried. Candles were already lit there, which meant some kind of ritual was about to take place. Hanife's wife asked the woman, "Why are you doing this?" She says, "Fine, I understand. You're hurting the people who killed that woman. But why are you killing these innocent children?" The girl replies that it was better this way. If they had stayed in the orphanage, they would have been abused too. She says it's a good thing she killed them. Then the woman tells Hanife's wife that her husband was also involved in all of this. She says, "If you kill your husband, I'll let you leave this place with your children." But Hanife's wife can't bring herself to do it. Just then, Hanife's young son stabs the woman. In an instant, Hanife's wife slashes her throat, completely separating her head from her body. But the woman reconnects her head and comes back to attack them again. That's when Hanif's wife throws the ritual candle at her. That candle was the only thing that could kill her because it was filled with immense power. As a result, the woman is finally killed for real. With her death, the black magic ends, and all the possessed people return to normal. Everyone comes out of the room, but they don't save the owner because it's finally time for him to be punished for his sins. A few days later, we see Hanife's wife dropping her kids off at school. Suddenly, outside the car, the shadow of the same girl they killed a few days earlier appears. When she steps out and looks around, the girl is nowhere to be seen. And with that, the movie comes to an end. Let me know your thoughts. Also, subscribe to this channel for more stories like this.